Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Spill the Tea. Today, I'm excited to give you a tour around our Power BI connector on how to build queries, how to visualize your dashboards, and also how to connect your solution with the Power BI connector. Enjoy.
So today, the goal with today's webinar is to show you more about our beautiful Power BI connector. So I will start off by showing where you can find this connector. Firstly, this page is called Teneo.ai. It is the Teneo developer resources, where you can sign up for a free trial of 90 days, where you can test this beautiful connector out. But on top of that, you can also read more on our technology, our documentation, our tutorials, and also see the community. So in order to find the Power BI connector, you would need to locate yourself to the resources tab. And once you open the resources tab, you will be greeted with some connectors we have already available and pre-built for you. It starts off with the backend connectors and continues with the channel connectors, also known as the front-end connectors. And then we have the relevant part that is called the data connectors. So today's topic is to introduce you the Power BI connector. But on top of that, to give you more information on the scale setup we have, the three different connector setups we have. Also to give you a hint of how to build a dashboard. And we will also end up with building a word cloud. So I will start off by showing you the main page, briefly going through the different setups, and then we will start off by implementing one of them. So as for the connector itself, it is included in three different setups. The first setup is called scale setup. The scale setup starts off by the Teneo Studio, as we can see to the right here. It shares and publishes queries and sends it over to Teneo Inquire. Teneo Inquire later runs a Chrome job or some sort of a scheduled job with Inquire ETL and retrieves all of the information there and shares it to an external or an internal database where you can store all of your information. And also at the end, it shares that information with the Power BI connector. So the scale setup works extremely well and scales extremely well with the Power BI usage. It also enables you to combine the conversational AI data log and to analyze every single thing in the same database you have. It also allows you to use any type of database. So this is not limited to Azure SQL. Instead, you are able to do it in any way you want. We just randomly picked Azure SQL to do it in this guide. As for the other setup, we have something called the production setup. The production setup does the only difference between the scale and the production setup is that we do not store anything in a database. Instead, we are using a query, Teneo query language to store the logs and also retrieve them through the Teneo Inquire by the Power BI. So the difference here is that you don't need Azure SQL or any similar service, but it is also it works extremely well if you are interested in 3 to 6 months of data rather up to 12. If you're interested in very large scale of data, we recommend you the scale setup. As for the relevant one for this term is the development setup. This one is mainly used for small implementations. It is mainly to build a proof of concept where you want to explore what you can do and see what capabilities are before you really go into the connector. As for the setup itself, you mainly start off with Teneo Studio. You have a solution, you build your queries, you publish them, and you share them internally in your Teneo Inquire, and that is later retrieved and shown in Power BI. So if we go ahead and show that, I would just press this little button here to locate myself to the development setup. But you can also select the production setup and scale setup if that is relevant for you. All of the steps are somewhat similar. There are some minor changes depending on which one you select, so be aware of that when you're building. As a prerequisite, we kindly ask you to have a Power BI license before starting this, as you will be building there. But also we ask you to have a solution on Teneo which already has some log data stored into it. As for the connector, you would need to download it. We have made it available on GitHub, so you can download any of the setups there. And you need to move them in a specific folder for Power BI to retrieve them. And that is explained here. After that, you would need to just enable third-party extensions. Otherwise, the connector would not show up. As for the solution itself, what I'm doing here, some people might be familiar, some people might not be familiar, is that when you sign up for a free trial on Teneo, you will get a free solution that comes together with your free trial. This one is called Longbear Baristas. The Longbear Baristas is an example solution. The main reason for this is to show you the use cases, and the use case in this regard is a barista owner, a coffee shop owner, who wants to build a chatbot for his own coffee shop. And if you follow the tutorials we have here, then you can start from having nothing till finished product to be having this Longbear Barista ready for your solution. So as for that, I have created some minor logs here in our beautiful example solution, which we will be retrieving. As for the queries, we highly recommend you to use some prefixes, as mentioned here. These are mainly recommended due to Power BI having different type of types when it comes to the data. So if you put a D as a prefix, then it will be tagged as a date in Power BI, where you don't have to do it manually. Instead, it will be done automatically. So as for the queries, I have created some of them. These are, for example, something called completed flows, where we want to see the number of completed flows. We want to see, for example, how many coffees did we sell per day, or how many triggered flows do we have, or the user feedback. Are they happy with the bot, or are they not happy with the bot? So if we, for example, just run this query to show you an example, then you can see that we have added the prefixes here as S in folder, and we're calling it a string. The DT stands for date and time. And in order to retrieve this, we need to first share the queries, but after that, we need to publish them. So if we go ahead and do that, then the next step would be to access this data in Power BI. And the way we explain it is basically you would just need to copy this URL, and you need to replace the list here with your own team ID, and you would also need your log data source available. The way we recommend to do it is just open some sort of a notepad where you can just write, and I will zoom in order for you to see better. And the way you get your team name is essentially you just press on Team Console to the top right corner after you have created a free trial. And once you have done that, you will come to this page where you can download the Studio client. You can also use it on Mac and Linux, but you would just need to copy this beautiful link here, or this beautiful name, and then you will go here. You would replace the name here. So that would be my team ID. I'm just making it larger for you to see. And then I would need to retrieve the log data source where the inquiry is located. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reach all of this information here. And for that, I would just need to visit the bots page. This can be done inside the solution as well, but I just need to go here, and I just need to copy the last part of my engine URL. And that is the way I will collect the LDS. The way this can be done in the solution is essentially copying this. So this is the same name. So if you don't have a free trial and you want to do this on a client data, you don't have a page like this, you would just need to copy it here. You can also go outside here and select log data to see all of your information here. So The next step here would be to load Power BI, as we have the free trial environment ready with all of the information. I would just open the Power BI and run the connector. So once inside, if you have done and downloaded the connector, you will be able to see in the get data panel, you will be able to search for your connector here. Just by writing Teneo, you will see the different production and the production and the development setups here. You will just need to press the one that are relevant for you, depending on which setup you have added. And now, as you can see, the URL that they are interested in is the name of the free trial you have. I just copy that, paste it. The LDS stands for log data source. As I mentioned, it is the last part solution or the engine URL. And then when you load it, it will, in this regard, it will most likely ask you for your credentials. So as I have logged in before, it has catched my credentials, so will not ask me for my login information. But in this regard, it will ask you, and the only thing you need to provide is the username you'd use to log into your Teneo Studio and the password, and that's it. And then you will be able to retrieve this information. And here you can see that we have all of the mentioned, the shared queries here. So you can see the ones I have to the right are actually shown here as well. So the information, for example, in this triggered underscore flows is actually retrievable here as well. So I will just go ahead and mark everyone. And depending on how big, on how much data you have, it will take a minute or a couple of seconds to just load the data. So you just go ahead and load and just wait. And during this time, the connector is essentially just talking to inquire, asking for the information to be shared, as we showed in the graphs in the beginning of this video. And now it's done. What we can do is that we can go to the data. And as I mentioned before, the prefixes come very valuable here. As you might notice here, we have a data type located to the top left corner, and you might see that there are different versions here. In order to stay ahead of the game and you not manually adding the data types, you can just use the prefixes, and it will then take this as a datetime, tag it as a datetime. This is tagged as a string, or in this regard, it's called a text. And once you're done, you have the beautiful data here. The only thing you would need to do is just go here, and you can just press this, and then you can go ahead and create whatever is relevant for you. So we'll just do that, and let's see if I manage to do this in a good way. So here we go, and let's remove that. And here we go. Now we can see the most popular flows I have. If we're interested in something else, for example, we can say that we're interested in the transaction count. Then we can just do that. And now we will have the transaction count. We can also say that we're interested in something else. For example, what day, how many people did talk to me in what day. So we have the 13th of December. We had approximately 16 people talking to the bot. And then on the 14th, we had much more people talking to it. And that is essentially the way you can transfer data from this single query in your free trial to being visualized in Power BI. So let's say you build a beautiful visualization, and you show it around the company, and they say this looks beautiful, but I think something is missing. You need to add more data or more queries. That's up to you. Then how would I update or add more data without ruining my beautiful presentation or my beautiful dashboard here? Well, for that, I will demonstrate how to do this in a word cloud. So I will just show you how to build a word cloud, and this guide and everything I tell is available on teneo.ai or developers.artificialsolutions.com. You can just follow the page. Everything I mentioned here is already written. But what I need to do is that I have this beautiful query that is pre-written for me. I would just need to copy it here, and I can go ahead, go to my Teneo query language or my log data source. I go here, I create a new query. I will just paste it. And what this query does is essentially it asks for the thousand. It asks me to sample 1,000 user inputs and tag them as strings. As we can see, the S it's tagged as strings, and we are interested in the sentences that are not empty and has at least 2 words, and that's when you're using regex. So now I have this query ready. The first thing I need to do is I need to press share. This is shared internally with all of the developers that has this access to this free trial. So I go here, I give it a name. I would just call it word_cloud for me to be easier. And I add a description. This is for Power BI demo, and I will just press save. Now it is shared internally. Everyone can retrieve it. Everyone can use it internally, but it is not shared to Power BI. Power BI cannot retrieve it yet. The only thing you need to do on top of that is then to the top right corner, you will have something called publish. As soon as you press the publish, you will share it with Power BI. So now in Power BI, for me to retrieve this, I would just need to go to recent sources, as it's already stored all of my information. I can just press the most recent one that I'm interested in. And what you will see here is that you will have another one that is called word cloud, and all of my queries will be updated, but that is the way you do. And when you load it, it will essentially go through everyone in a very quick way, just to make sure that everything is safe and good. And then I would just add a new tab here, and I will build up word cloud by accessing the library they have in Power BI. So let's see here, and I will download the word cloud one for me to demonstrate. So the word cloud is available here. I will just press that, and I will just press add, and now it should be available here. So what I do is essentially I open up this one, and you might recognize that the prefix is gone due to the prefix just tagging the word. You now have the user input that is very valuable for you to know. If you don't name these in your query language, it might be hard for them to differentiate each other. But yes, if we go here and we press the user input, then you will have this visualized as a sentence, and then you need to press something that fits. In this regard, it is the word cloud, and we will just have a beautiful word cloud that is relevant for our use case. So yes, on top of that, what we have done in our Power BI guide is that we have added a guide for you to build your own dashboard. But also we have also added information for you to show and to gather your dashboard for. So at the end of this page, you will be able to download the things that are being discussed here. So what we are doing here is that we are essentially giving you tips and tricks on what should be relevant, what could be relevant in your regards, and give you some briefings on how to write the queries at the end. So if you're interested in that, you can just go here and you can say, I'm interested in knowing what flows are completed. I just need to copy this, paste this, and that's it. So I want to see how many mugs I managed to sell in my coffee shop. I just need to paste it and it's done. Again, with the sold coffees per weekday, or the triggered flows, or the user feedback that might be relevant. So if I now go here and I download this, I will be able to open it in Power BI and show you what we have pre-built for you in order to give you some sort of a idea on what you're capable of doing in Power BI. So as mentioned before, the Power BI connector itself, the Longbear Barista example solution by itself, are a single person that owns a coffee shop. He's very interested in I need to change the dates because it's been a minute since we updated this. So the The Longbear barista owner has a specific use case. They want an overview panel where they want to see essentially how the feedback has been, how good the bot is performing, what type of stats do we have. So, for example, here he wants to see how much people has talked to the bot during these dates. As you can see, the 31st of August, we have 15,000. Here we have something that is called average session duration. So this is how long it takes for a person to start a conversation and how quick it ends. So in 21 seconds, the issue is solved according to this dashboard. And then you would know what the most popular flows you have here. So the most popular use case is user wants to order a coffee. The second most is the user wants to buy a coffee mug. And then the user says yes, and you have all of the information here. You can just scroll down and see. Then you would know what folder is the most popular one. If you're interested in that, if you're building in folders, that's up to you. But we have the number of sessions and the number of API calls. As the information is from August, we do not have any sessions from the last month, last week, or API calls for that fact. So this is the overview dashboard. What we have on the other dashboard is something called specialized. In this regard, I just need to change this to 20 weeks in order for it to show, demonstrate more data. In this regard, we have some valuable information for the store owner itself. He wants to know what's interested in here. How well is my bot performing? What am I selling? What days am I selling in? So he needs to know what employees he needs to hire. Is it more common that people orders coffee on a Monday, or is it more common they order on a Friday? Are they interrupted? Are they happy? And etc. So if you start on the top left corner, you will see the most valuable information for them. Essentially, how much money have I made and what's the most popular thing. As you can see, in the Longbear Barista solution, we have sold 19,000 coffees thanks to this solution, and we have also managed to reserve 15,000 mugs. The most popular coffee is cappuccino, and we can see here that Sundays are the most popular day for people ordering coffee. On the other side, we can also see, or it is Saturday actually. And on the other side, we can see that Saturdays is also popular when reserving coffee mugs, but on Thursdays, people are not eager to even visit the store apparently. Here we have the stats on what are the most popular coffee types. So we see that a great trend is on cappuccino. Then the user would, or the owner would know that they are interested in milky products and interested in foam coffee and foam milk. And therefore it is important to invest more money on that and more resources. What we have here on the left middle screen is the user feedback. So how satisfied are people with your solution? So when you order something or you talk to the bot in the Longbear Barista solution, we have an automatic prompt that says, "Are you satisfied with this answer?" And then the user can say yes or no. And depending on that, you can see a 10% people the 10% of the people that has tried this solution or talked to this bot are not satisfied. And then you can make the relevant actions depending on what's going wrong and what's good and what's not. Then you have over time the number of API calls and the number of sessions, so you can see how popular each days are. And then you can see the completed versus raised flows. So how many flows are actually interrupted, or are people just leaving the bot without finishing a sentence? And you can see how much that scales is and make the relevant actions. Again, we have the same things as usual. We have the triggered flow by folder, and we have also the most popular flows located here for people that are interested. And the former word cloud I showed was not good enough, or it did not hold much data. But in here, you can see in a larger scale how this performs. So you can, for example, find the word coffee being used a lot. You can see the word loyalty has been used a lot. Order, or a bug. The word bug has been used once, and that might be something you're interested in. And you can run Teneo query language in order to see this information and see what's going on.
And that was our second episode of Spill the Tea. Please go ahead and like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're more interested in more content. And as always, you can visit Teneo.ai website to sign up for a free trial of Teneo. See you.